Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today I'm asking the question, why on earth are you getting rid of your Windows 95 machine? Are you nuts? Now, here's what's going on, and this put a smile on my face. This is actually coming from Ars Technica, and here's what's going on. A new independent project called Windows Update Restored, and that is literally what their website is hosting lightly modified versions of old Windows 95, 98, NT4, and other basically update sites and these update files themselves, so that basically fresh installs of the old operating systems can essentially get years worth of fixes that aren't present in your old install CDs and disks. Now, these old versions of Windows relied primarily back in the day on the Windows Update web application to function rather than the built-in updaters like the current version of Windows 10, 11, etc., etc. Microsoft took down the version of these sites that would scan and update Windows 95 and 98 in mid-2011, so it's been 12 plus years, basically. Now, Windows Update Restored basically is a lightly modified version of Microsoft's original code, and the site itself, interestingly enough, does not use any kind of SSL or TLS encryption, and so these really old versions of Internet Explorer that you need to access them can still do that because they just didn't have baked-in support for SSL or encryption. That's how far back these go. Now, you'll need at least Internet Explorer 5, so clearly the Ferrari version of Internet Explorer, to access the Windows Update Restored sites. And that browser, for the record, is no longer available for Microsoft for obvious reasons. They just deprecated the last version of that out, version 800 or something? But Windows Update Restored offers downloads to Internet Explorer 5 and 5.5 in all supported languages. At the moment, on their platform, version 3.1 of the Windows Update Restored site is the only one currently functioning, though they have basically planned support for basically Windows 95, both editions of Windows 98, Windows 98, and Windows 98 SE, NT4, ME, if you guys remember Windows Millennium that go back that far, versions of Windows 2000, but some versions, but the not installed newest version with the Service Pack 4 installed. So there you go. So sorry that you're Service Pack 3 or better, or I'm sorry, earlier on Windows 2000. Now, if you're using an early 2000s Windows version like 2000 or Windows XP, a similar project called Legacy Update might be a better choice. Windows 2000 and XP updates are still available for Microsoft's update catalog, and Legacy Update simply allows those older operating systems to communicate with the more modern websites and servers to grab those there. So if you're still running 2000 or XP for some reason, there you go. Now, it should go without saying that even though these are functioning versions and they have now a functioning version of Windows Update, it doesn't make these old operating systems any more secure to use on the modern internet. Update for Windows 95 stopped in 2001. Windows 98 and ME stopped getting updates in 2006. The existence of this functioning update site does not change the updates that are actually available. They are not finding bugs in these, basically in the code of 95 or 98, etc., and patching them. What they're doing is giving you access, if you're still running this operating system or these operating systems for some reason, to every single update that is available. Modern browsers, antivirus products, etc., have stopped supporting these operating systems forever ago, and so they're best used for things like non-internet connected things, whether it's games, etc., and so I think this is actually really interesting, and here's why. From a cybersecurity and privacy standpoint, the author of this article is 100% correct. No Windows 5 machine should ever be able to get to the internet ever again. That said, interestingly enough, I do see, especially when I'm talking or working with manufacturing companies and talking about security for compliance frameworks like CMMC or ISO, etc., that many of them, interestingly enough, actually still run things like NT 4.0. And the reason being is these are integrated computer systems into large industrial machines where it's like, yeah, we're not paying $1 million just to upgrade a perfectly functioning machine to a newer version of Windows, because that's literally what it would cost them to do. And so they keep running them. And now we get compensating controls to work around them. We isolate them from the internet. We isolate them from the network so they can't be like weaponized against the rest of the internal network, etc., but they're still out there. And so something like this, outside of just like retro gamers, actually may be a really good thing to ensure that even though they're not making patches, you still have all the patches that are available and you've got the cleanest version of that operating system possibly running. So I think it's a pretty cool thing, but to that point, don't get rid of it. Just don't put it on the internet. And there you go. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please attempt to stay private. Thanks, everybody.